It's good to see each and every one of you. And before we start, I just want to say a few thank yous, and I hope I remember them all. I want to thank Celeste Mercy for these PowerPoint slides. Celeste, thank you. And thank Carlos for putting our audio and visual together with the team. Pastor helped out, and so did Sam and other people. I want to thank Robin for the good food that she's going to be sharing with us in just a little bit. And I want to thank the whole wellness team that has been supporting this ministry. And Rob and I are excited to be a part of it. Who else do I need to say thank you to? And for all, yeah, that's very important, Gary. Much. Well, as you can see on our slide, interpersonal relationships create a full and happy life. And many studies have been done now. This isn't just wishful thinking. People from Harvard to have been doing studies on the importance of interpersonal relationships with regards to our health and our lives. And so we're going to look at some of these today. I want you to know where my information is coming from. It's actually coming from Creation Health that was organized and put together. I believe it was from Florida Hospital. And they have a whole series: choice, rest, environment, activity, trust, interpersonal relationships, outlook, nutrition. Our pastor today shared with New Start. This is a variation of that, but you can see includes some of the very same aspects that Pastor Pagini shared with us today. And the reason it's important, interpersonal relationships, is that 1 out of every 4 people in our society is isolated. We're going to find out how many people that is as we move along, and that may seem staggering. And sometimes it's something we think, well, maybe this doesn't affect us if we feel like we have plenty of family around and plenty of friends around. But there are a lot of people in this world that feel lonely, feel isolated. And I think one of the things that it speaks to Christians is that we can understand just by caring for others, entering into their lives, we could be really light and salt, as the Bible says, for those people. We can make a difference in their life. And that might be the main thing that would lead them to want to hear about our God and know that there is a God who cares for them, even though they may feel lonely. Social connection is a predictor of health and the quality of life, we'll find out. And we're going to explore the science behind it, and we're going to learn new and improved ways, maybe, to strengthen our relationships. So let's see if I can move this here. Relationships and health. A social system is vital to health, and your relationships can make the difference between sickness and health. Robin's been reading a book, and she shared this with me. She said, they said, community is immunity. You like that? Thank you, Robin. They like that. And that is true. Community is immunity. And she gave me another nugget. Amen for our wives, right? It's community is medicine. Community is medicine. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to have community here, and we're going to have good food, because good food and community equals a wonderful time. And that's one of the things about maybe inviting someone over to your home. Hey, come on over and let's have a bite to eat. That creates not only just good food, but it creates this community that we're talking about, and it's very, very important. Creation, what does the Bible say? Genesis 2:18, read it. You all read it. So we're at our best when we're connected, I believe, to God and to other people, because that's the way God created us. I believe that's probably why it says in Hebrews, don't forsake the assembling of yourselves, but come and worship together, because God knew that He created people that should be in community together. And in the happiest of times and the most difficult times, we need to know that there's someone that's going to stand beside us. Yes, God says, yes, you know that I'll stand beside you, but I want love with skin on next to you. I want to have people there praying for you, and you know that they're praying for you and caring for you. So, the scripture says that there was something missing for Adam. There was no suitable helper found. And God, therefore, instilled within him a longing to belong. And in Genesis 1:27, it says, male and female, he created them. So we are complete when we're together. And it's not just a male and a female in a marriage relationship, because it goes on and it says, not just a soulmate did he create, but it said in verse 28, and he says, be fruitful and increase in number. So he wanted that couple to also be in community with who? Children. Very good. Celeste gets the A. By the way, this is a picture of people that are, well, let me ask you, what are they? Seniors, very good. I was hoping no one would say old. And let's say they're mature, okay? But it could be a picture of young people too. And the Bible says that the Trinity is in community. Isn't that right? They have love and joy for one another, God the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And they created humanity for community, and they wanted to be a part of that community themselves. So belonging is the deepest longing of the human heart that God has created and instilled within us. And we all long to belong. So all of those many lonely people that we're going to hear about that are out in our neighborhoods, maybe where we're working, in society, wherever, maybe there are even lonely people in the church, maybe even lonely people in our home. I don't know. But all of those people, they long to belong. And we were made to be in life-giving connections, and that is what will make us whole. Now, I am, as many of you know, I'm an extrovert. I love to be around people. I crave people, maybe too much. In fact, Pastor, I'm so sick in this area that I don't use ATMs. I go in and talk to the people in the bank. Yes, I do. Yeah. And I know that people tell me that, but there's just, for me, it feeds me. See, when I go in and I hear the ladies, and it can be a gentleman too, so I don't want to just be one-sided, and they say, "Hello, Mr. Gray," I feel validated. I feel like I'm somebody. I feel like someone knows me, and for my personality, I need that. And as Pastor Pagini says, I need help. Now, Robin is the opposite way. Robin sneaks in the bank. They call 911, and before you know it, we have police checking her out. What are you sneaking in here for? They think that she's going to try to rob the place, because she's built a little bit different. She doesn't need all of that love that I feel like I need. And that's why, now I'm going to be truthful here. That's why, even though I go to the gym 4 days a week, Now, what are you guys laughing about? You go to the gym 4 days a week? You got to be kidding me! Because one of the most important things for me, Esther, smile at me, please. One of the most important things for me is the interpersonal relationships. But I find that that's true for a lot of the other skinny guys. Now, the big buff guys, here, you're bugging me. No. No, really. That's true for a lot of people. Yes, we get our exercise in, but we also, again, we pray for one another. If something happens in someone's family, you're there and you're supporting one another. And it's very helpful. The presentation is going to focus on how your social connections predict your health by affecting your longevity and quality of life, and help you create and maintain healthy relationships. I think I got nervous and I hit 2. By the way, I am a little nervous. And I haven't done this for a while. But yeah, it is a little. So I'm trying to do my best here. I know Pastor Pagini has encouraged me, and he does very well at this, and so I don't want to let him down either. Okay, Jesus said, "I have come that you may have life and life to the fullest," and so that includes our social connections. It's one of the things that makes that life be full. And after all, remember, Jesus came to what? Live among us, to be connected to us, and to love us, and to show us His love. So, social connection. What do we mean by social connection or social connectedness? Well, we're in the broadest sense speaking about interacting with other people, particularly with God and people and nature, because relationships are one of the greatest blessings that we have. And these relationships include these things: communication, servanthood, sharing, touch, encouragement, and trust. That's what helps make up social connections. All those things there. It's not just talking to someone, but it's caring to serve for them or share with them or touch them and encourage them, and trust and confiding. Now, do you ever find yourself sad, lonely, or depressed? You don't have to answer that out or right at the moment. But sometimes we can feel these feelings. They're genuine feelings. And when you have those feelings, what do you do? Larry Yeagley is a chaplain that has helped develop for Canada and the United States a program on dealing with loneliness and people and helping them. And he says, I see 2 types of loneliness. So 2 types, transient and chronic. Now, transient loneliness, he says, is short-lived. I've heard it likened to hunger prior to a meal. I experience it when my wife attends a women's retreat. I am lonely during her absence, but I know that she will return in 2 days. Chronic loneliness is cause for some serious concern. It is likened to hunger with no hope of nourishment. Left unaddressed, it can lead to emotional crippling. James J. Lynch wrote A Cry Unheard, New Insights into Medical Consequences of Loneliness. And he emphasized the necessity of healthy dialogue. He calls it the elixir of life. It is sharing all that life is and means to you with another person who is willing to share with you. The absence of dialogue easily leads to the lethal poison of chronic loneliness. You know, I said they had within the context of her ministry. we have amongst our church family a lady by the name of Virginia Scholl. And Virginia, for many years when she was able to and healthy, every week she would go and she would visit all of our shut-ins in this church. It was powerful. It was powerful. She'd take them a bulletin, and she would take them some other object that she knew they would benefit from or would find joy in. And she would do this week after week. And every once in a while I'd have the privilege she'd say, Pastor, let's go. I'll take you around. And we would go and we'd visit. And you know what such a blessing she was for those shut-ins? Because they couldn't get here. But she was taking the church to them. And I know that was a true blessing for them. Lynch says, if current trends persist, communicative diseases and the resultant loneliness, now listen to this, communicative diseases and the resultant loneliness will equal communicable diseases as a leading cause of premature death in all post-industrial nations during the 21st century. It's amazing, isn't it? Amazingness. So loneliness. By the way, did I miss something? Yeah. A third of the people have reported feeling lonely. Loneliness. 25% of Americans have no one to confide in. That's 29 million people live alone. And loneliness is becoming a major disease. So, one of our prayers could be, Lord, send me today in my walk of life, and if there's someone that I could befriend, if there's someone I can say an encouraging word, I'm your ambassador today. Because I know you love me, and I know I have a loving, supporting family, and I want to be your ambassador today. Wouldn't that be a wonderful prayer? To be intentional about it and see where God leads us and what you do in helping us. There is a 3 to 5 times greater risk for heart disease with loneliness. Loneliness and isolation affect health negatively and increases of premature death by up to how many percent? These are studies that they have done. Again, I hit too much. Oh, I guess that's good. Yeah, that was right. Did you get sick on that movement? Back and forth. We're playing ping pong, Mr. Beanie. Okay. So he's going to come here and say, give me that thing. Okay. They say that loneliness increases these particular situations. Why do you think that would be? Let's have a little feedback.
To mask the loneliness.
Okay. How do we mask loneliness or heartache or?
Well, these sort of behaviors, they give you a sense of forgetfulness.
Okay.
You forget the pain that loneliness entails.
Okay.
So it gives you a type of temporary euphoria.
Yeah.
Temporary fix.
Yeah.
Just so that way you feel like you can move on.
So it's sort of filling a need, maybe.
Yeah, but it's not going to meet or fulfill that need.
Because
again,
okay.
it's just self-medication.
Okay.
Yes, medication, because all of these things are symptoms, and to address the symptoms, we take something to get rid of it.
And so loneliness and isolation, they affect our health by preventing us from fully experiencing joy of life. And so we may, in an effort to cope, these are behaviors that can take place within people's lives. And so then loneliness and isolation, we can see how it increases premature death from all causes up to 500%. It possibly can contribute. A doctor asked one of his patients, he said, you shouldn't keep smoking. You acknowledge that to me. Why is it that you keep doing it? And he said, "Doctor, I'm going to tell you the truth. In this pack, I have 20 friends, and they are always around, and I can have them and reach out to them whenever I need them, and they're there for me. And by the way, none of them are judgmental." Now, we may not relate to that, but that's one man's experience. Anything that promotes a sense of isolation often leads to illness and suffering. And anything that promotes a sense of love and intimacy and connection and community is healing. So the breakdown of a sense of community, whether in our neighborhood or our church or job, is not healthy. A virtual community is not the same as true community. I want to say that again for this day and age. A virtual community is not the same. Facebook is not an authentic intimacy or connection. Even young people see this more and more. In fact, just within the last couple of weeks, Selena Gomez, I don't know if I pronounced her name correctly. I saw this on the news. She's a singer-actor, and just a few days ago, she communicated the danger she feels as a young person for the young people concerning the way they use social media and what they think social media is going to do for them. And now someone could say, well, this is the kettle, how does that saying go? This is the what? The pot calling the kettle black. Because I think she has multiple millions of followers on social media. But here is a young person, and so the reason I brought it up, because I want to hear from not just mature people, I want to hear from the young people, everyone, what are they sensing about the way that we're dealing with maybe loneliness, etc. So, do you have anyone who really cares for you, feels close to you, loves you, wants to help you, you can confide in? If the answer is yes, you may have a 3 to 5 times lower risk of premature death from disease of all causes. And this includes, they say, this reduction in premature death was found both in people who were healthy and in those who were unhealthy from the start of the studies. So they've really tried to make sure that as they're dealing with this, they're dealing with apples and apples and oranges and oranges. What does this say again? Who could read it for me?
Okay, I'll read it.
Yeah.
2,320 men who survived a heart attack.
Okay.
Stress, socially isolated men are 4 times more likely to die. True even after controlling for other important prognostic factors.
Okay, so social connectedness, they found in a study, helps people with disease. Those who were socially isolated and had high stress had more than 4 times the risk of dying after controlling for genetics, exercise, diet, weight, smoking, alcohol, and so on. The psychosocial factors had a much stronger relationship to mortality than did the drug being tested in this research. And in another very large study involving 13,000 people who were followed for 5 to 9 years, researchers found that men who were socially isolated had 2 to 3 times higher mortality than those who were more socially connected. And this relationship remains even after extensive controlling for traditional biomedical and cardiovascular disease risk factors. Amazing, isn't it? So, here we find that cancer patients participated in a 6-week, 90-minute weekly support group. 6 years later, the people in the support group had a what? 70% reduction in death rate and almost half as many reoccurrences. And that's why Dr. Dean Ornish, and Dr. Dean Ornish, for those of you who don't know or if you haven't looked him up or anything, you should, because he's one of the first to help prove and show that you can reverse many diseases. Whether it's in heart disease or in diabetes or things like that, according to your diet, etc. But he, yes, please.
Just a point here. If I hear you correctly, what you're telling me is that we, particularly as men,
Yes.
can actually live longer just because we hang out together. Right.
That is, that is a major, you know, yeah, you know, you notice that I'm staying very close to the notes. Don't you see that? Okay, and I'm doing that for a particular reason because, you know, I don't want to get it wrong when I have this short time with you, and I am following these studies that are there, and so I'm trying to convey the study to you. I'm not trying to convey my ability to remember it word for word or anything. And so, you know, what I think we're learning is that we are not saying do whatever you want with your eating and everything else, and you just take care of this particular issue of interpersonal connectedness and social connectedness, and you can do whatever you want, and you're going to be okay, and you're not going to die as soon as others, etc. I think what we're saying is that God has made us as a whole person, and in that wholeness, we have all of these factors that Pastor had in his sermon today with New Start. All of these things contribute, but we often have poo-pooed, you know that's in quotes, right? Or sort of maybe thought, does it really mean anything to have good social connections? And studies are showing that it is just, and this is our point here with Dr. Dean Ornish, and we've had it in your flyer, it is as important, these interpersonal relationships, as all of these other factors.
And I hear what you're saying because with the church is that so often as men we're being pulled in various directions.
Yes.
That when it actually comes time for us to have that interpersonal relationship we're needing,
Yeah.
aside from our home, from our families, because that's mainly where the demand comes from. That it actually helps men to decompress and actually feel better.
Yes.
We are made
Yes.
socially as men to be creatures of, with each other.
Yes.
But we're always being pulled by
Yeah.
this and that.
Yeah.
So it's like we suffer in the long run, and that's what the research is showing.
Right.
We as men in particular need to make time to be together.
Yes.
It helps us.
Yeah. And we need to be with our families. And I know, you know, as time goes on, you think, how many people can I be with? And, you know, I don't have the answer for everybody on that. I think one of the things that I want to hear for my own heart in this information is I am blessed with a church family. I am blessed with a biological family. And I'm blessed with some friendships, etc. And I want to make sure that I'm so thankful for that as I began this message, that I will ask God to guide me so I can be a blessing and a help and help other people's health through being in their lives as He leads me to them. You know, I don't think I'm necessarily saying that you go up to everybody on the street and say, will you be my friend? You know, but yeah, because, you know, you might find yourself in a different place. Yes, yeah. Someone might be dialing 911 pretty quick. But, you know, I can be attentive at the gym, you know, and I trust my God that He can guide me to someone that needs Him that day. You know, some of my, I wonder if this is true for you, some of my most gratifying life experiences are when God has brought me together with another person And I may or may not have set up that appointment. And I was able to, because of God, I was able to be a blessing to that person in some way. And I know that I walk away from the experience and I think, I can say, God, you did that, didn't you? You're just sort of smiling. You did that, didn't you, God? And then, that makes me feel good because I say, God, you were connected with me. I mean, you actually, but not just for me, but for that person. You cared about that person. And that's powerful. You can't help but feel like special. Is that what I'm saying? Let me just, real quickly, and then we're going to do exercise, Sam. Okay? Sound good? There was a study on a particular point, and it's so powerful that it's been called the Rosetta effect. And that's a study spanning 50 years. How many years? 50 years. In a little town of Rosetto, Pennsylvania. Coronary heart disease in Rosetto at the beginning of the study was half the two neighboring towns, despite risk factor being the same. They discovered that Rosetto was settled by a tightly knit group of religious immigrants from southern Italy. And during the first 30 years of the studies, these families were characterized by a high level of social connectedness, extensive intermarriage, strong family ties, and a supportive, nurturing community. The researchers hypothesized that this high level of social connectedness might buffer residents from heart disease, and this is shown to be true when in the 60s and the 70s, the cohesiveness of the community began to weaken, and heart disease climbed. There's another study. Well, let's stop right there and just take a few minutes of exercise to close up. Sam, I think you were to do...
Some of you were here last time. Some of you were not. Okay, so those of you who were here last time, we did do some exercise demonstration, and you remember what they were? Okay, Sharon, can you show me, please? Show us. Okay. 10 times. Okay, what happened to you when you did the exercise for 10 times? That wasn't the answer I was looking for, but that's okay. Okay. The next day, you felt the muscles that you have used, okay? You also...
But now, I told you I didn't do any exercises that you showed me, but I have been on the treadmill.
Oh, praise the Lord. So you have been on the treadmill. Wonderful.
It's not like I'm not doing anything. Just as little as possible.
Okay, so you have been on the treadmill. You were inspired. Okay, now we also talk about another exercise. What else did we talk about? Something you can do on your own. Standing on your tiptoes, okay? And you can actually combine those two together, right? You can go from sitting to standing and standing up on your tiptoes, and then you put your heel down, you sit down again. And we talk about another exercise. What was it? Squatting. Well, that's kind of with the sitting and standing, okay? Now, I had all of you stand up last time, and we went walking sideways. You remember that? Okay? All these are what we consider intermittent training. Okay, there is a concept of constant training and there's a concept of intermittent training. And what I just talked about, those two things are intermittent training because these are the two things that you can do intermittently throughout the day. Okay, we talked about that last time. Intermittent training is very important because it keeps your energy level up and it keeps your metabolism up. Okay, the studies have shown that if you sit for 8 to 10 hours and you just exercise at the end of the day for 30 to 60 minutes, that's not enough. It doesn't benefit you as much as if you do it and you break it up and you do it throughout the whole day, because it keeps your metabolism up, it keeps your energy up. So let's do this right now, and I'll show you another one to do. Okay, so all of us are going to practice for the benefit of you, those of you who were not there last time. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand up and then get up on your tiptoes, and you're going to put your heel down, and you're going to sit down. You're going to do that 10 times. So you stand up, get up on your tiptoes, and you put your heel down, and you sit down. Oh, Sharon, you're an expert now. Look at you. You must have been practicing in secret. It's great. You guys are doing good. So when you finish 10 times, you can sit down. Some of you are moving faster than the others because some of you are maybe more fit. Okay? That's good. So you count on your own to 10, and when you finish 10, you can all sit down. Okay? Now, what happened when you were doing it in the beginning? Some of you find it difficult to get up on your toes? Yes. And then as you go along, did you find it easier? Yes, because you're training your brain. Remember, talk about exercise training. Exercise actually helps to train the brain. You are training your brain. So you're rewiring your brain, and you're teaching your brain to do something new. That prevents what? Alzheimer's, dementia. Okay? All right? Those of you who were here last time, we talked about training the brain. When you walk, you always walk forward. How many of you walk sideways and backwards? Some of you do. Fantastic. That's a great way to train and rewire your brain. Okay, so we talk about that today. So go home and practice walking sideways and backwards because you are rewiring your brain. You're training your brain to have new connections. Okay? Huh? Okay? Just walk sideways. Some of you are experts in line dancing, I know. Okay? This is kind of like line dancing, you walk sideways. Okay? You don't have to cross over because some of us have not done this before. If we cross over, we may tangle our feet. So if you get good enough, you want to practice right now? Okay, let's stand up. Okay? Now give yourself some space, don't run into each other. Okay? All right? So we are going to go to the right 5 steps. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do that 10 times. Keep going. Oh, no. I thought it was, oh, yes. I think, Sharon, last time you felt your legs because you were walking sideways a lot more.
I told my kids not to call the head doctor in the morning because I was walking sideways.
Hey, are you having fun, Ron? Do you feel your hips a little bit? Yes. You want slim hips? Start walking sideways. Okay? You're using different muscles. You're rewiring your brain. Okay? You're training your balance and coordination. Okay? It's actually good for your ankles too because it trains lateral stability. When you twist your ankle, it's because you don't have good lateral stability. So you're rewiring your brain, you're training your muscles, and you're teaching stability and control. You know, Caroline is a fitness buff. We're not going to go that far, but yes, you can do that. Yes, you can put resistance bands on. Okay, last time I showed you guys all the resistance bands. Okay, some of them are just a loop. Some of them have straps. Different things. Okay. All right, I'm going to show you one new exercise today. I need a volunteer. Come on up. Come on, Maria. Okay. How many of you stretch on a regular basis? You do. Do you feel stiff sometimes? So what do you do for stretching? Touch your toes? Bend backwards? Okay. How many of you have shoulder stiffness and tightness? Some of you do. How many of you stretch the side of your body? You do. How do you stretch the side of your body? Show me. Okay. You're very good. You're doing it. Are you actually doing or you just know to do that? Okay? So we are going to give you... Come on over here, Maria. Okay, so we're going to give you a little something different, okay? So what I want to do is, Maria, I want you to put your hands behind your head together. Okay, now cross your arms more, if you're able to, okay? Normally, when you do stretching sideways, you just put your hands up and you stretch, correct? I can't do it right now because I'm going to rip my shirt and pull my shirt out. I don't want to do that, okay? So what happened when she just pulled her arms together? Now, you turn around. See what she's doing? She's crossing her hands. She's not even crossing her fingers. She's crossing her hands, okay? She just elongated the side of her body, her triceps, her shoulder, scapular muscles, okay? When you put your hands up, what happened? You already feel it, right? Okay? So you're already elongating. Your latissimus is already elongated. That's the wing muscle. Those guys like Pastor was kind of buff, and you see the wing right there, okay? Right there. So she is already pre-stretching something, all right? So Mireya is actually pretty flexible. Praise the Lord. How can we challenge her? For those of you who need an extra challenge, put your hands up there, okay? So what I can do is keep your legs apart a little bit. Keep your legs apart. Open your legs a little bit. Okay, right there. So what you do is you take a deep breath, and then for 5 counts, you breathe out, and you go sideways slowly. Oh, what happened now? You feel the stretch, Mireya? Okay, a lot. So she's feeling her triceps all the way down to her teres, lateral scapularis muscle, latissimus, and her torso. She just stretched everything right now, including her hips. Some of you are making faces right now when you're stretching. You don't look very happy. Smile, it helps. Okay? And come back up when you breathe in, and then you breathe out, and you go to the other side. 2, 3, 4, 5, and you come back up. Okay? So you see what she's doing now? Okay, let's do it together. Everybody stand up. Okay? If you don't understand, you can do it sitting down, but it's actually easier. So as much as possible, you can put your hands together behind your head. Hang on. Okay? If you cannot, just cross your fingers together. Okay? Some of you are kind of stiff, so you don't want to do that. Okay, now let's take a deep breath. Breathe in. And then breathe out and go to your right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't matter. Some left and right are different. Breathe in when you come back to the middle. And then breathe out when you go over to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And come back to the middle. Breathe in. Okay, keep going. Go to the right again. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. Come back to the middle. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please breathe because some of you are turning red. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go back in. Okay, and breathe out. Go to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. Come back to the middle. Keep going on your own. I don't have to count for you. You can do it. Okay, just make sure you breathe. So now we are getting some air in there. Okay? And interestingly, when you do this exercise, you are also expanding your lungs. Do you feel that? Okay, you're stretching the lateral side and you're expanding your lungs. And you're breathing. That's a fantastic thing. So when you're finished, you're welcome to sit down. Some of you didn't do 10.
You said you had to do 10?
So how do you feel right now? Okay, so you have a few things that go home and do. Sit to stand, get up on your toes because you're using your quadriceps, your hip, and your ankle muscles. You're training your balance, coordination. Okay, walking sideways, you're doing the same thing, and then wiring your brain, establishing the connection. Right now, what you're doing the same thing. Okay, you are improving your breathing, so you have to breathe. You are stretching. Okay, something that you've never stretched before, something you have never stretched aside before. So you always wonder why you can't raise your arm up. Oh, because this is really tight right here. So you can't raise your arm up. Okay, and you ended up with a shoulder dysfunction. And then, okay, you are elongating your body, getting more flexibility so you don't feel so stiff when you're sitting. Okay, so you have 3 things to go home and practice. All right, just reminding you of the last 2 and then you want today. So all of you are awake right now and you live? You weren't boring, so it was fantastic. Yeah, more. Thank you.
Sam's a great physical therapist, too. Let's see, I'm trying to see where I'm at here. Okay. This I thought was an interesting study. 276 healthy volunteers exposed to the virus that causes the common cold. I don't know why you'd ever want that, but they did that. And the more social relationships they had, the less likely they were to get sick. Isn't that something? Yeah. This was another study that they did. Encouragement and education of surgical patients resulted in reduced post-operative narcotic requirements by 50% and decreased hospital stays by 2.7 days. Isn't that something? I mean, you know, these are studies that they've done. The power of they actually it was a great study. They were told what to expect during the post-operative care. So this is good doctor-patient relationships and that type of thing. They're informed of the normal pain following surgery and were taught the relaxation techniques such as deep breathing. They are also taught how to move and reduce pain after surgery. The anesthesiologist visited his patients the next morning after the operation and once or twice daily until they no longer needed pain-reducing narcotics. And when compared with the control group, with those patients, other patients that weren't controlled, the patients showed a 50% reduction in the post-operative narcotics that were needed. Just the power of someone, you know, caring about you and being there and that type of thing. When social support is increased, the immune system is strengthened and also increases longevity. A buffer to disease and complications at any age is, they've found all types of ages. It helps everyone. And then this one here, labor and delivery study. This was a study in Guatemala City. The presence of a supportive companion during labor and delivery reduced the need for cesarean section and other interventions. It is common in this city, Guatemala, to go through labor alone. One group of the study went through a labor alone, while the other group had a companion support from admissions to the hospital to delivery by a friendly companion known as a doula, whom the pregnant woman had never met. The duration of labor in the group of the women left alone was 19.3 hours, compared to only 8.7 hours for the women with the doula. Also, the mothers with doulas were more likely to smile, stroke, and talk to their children than those in the control group. The doula? Who knows what a doula is? I think it is too.
But doesn't deliver.
Yeah. Doesn't deliver. Okay. Yes. Okay. And they, yeah, coaches like. And the inner right.
A woman typically, so it's a woman typically without formal obstetric training who is employed to provide guidance and support to a pregnant woman during labor and also, to the mother of a newborn baby.
Yes.
There for the labor and delivery and
yes. And I know this went right over the men's head. Decrease the delivery from 19.3 to 8.7, take every minute of that. Is that right, ladies? Okay. Very good. This one is one that we understand from our Genesis study that was done by Bailey Gillespie and some of those folks who helped him. And this is most resilient children have the above traits. Good social protective factors, good social skills, support from mentor peers, connection to family, good relationships with caregivers. And this had to do with people who had relationships with individuals, family, and they also are related social connection. And that's why, it's a blessing that our church has a Pathfinder Club, has a good, strong Sabbath school, has the church school, has the home. All these various things contribute to good social connections, and it helps our young people. Here's another massive study including data from all across the U.S., data from 90,000 teens and 18,000 of their parents. And this study said one word that encapsulates all this research is connectedness. In short, kids who feel connected to family, church, school, and community are far less likely to participate in behaviors that put them at risk. I'm sorry? The previous one? Yeah, I think it was just sort of a support to what I had said about the parents, families, and their school community. They're healthier than those who do not have all of those things. Here was a study. Adults in midlife were asked to describe their mother and father. Of those who use negative words, 95% had diseases in midlife. Those who had positive statements, only 29% had midlife diseases. That seems staggering. I'm sorry? Yes. Yeah, and it also goes to that previous thing about having all this support structure, how important it is in our life. This is talking about support structure and the immune system, and a study that they did with 30 elderly people in a retirement home showed increased immune competence in terms of both natural killer cells and antibodies from being visited 3 times a week a month. That's why Virginia Scholl, her ministry was so powerful for all of those people, because there she was in their home every week and ministering to them. Robin and I have always said that her mom, you remember the Queen Mom? She lived over here in the Regency Grand, and she lived till she was 98 years old. And we saw in the 10 years when she moved from her home and came over here, we saw how she just blossomed and bloomed, and her health increased, where before she had no one around her out in the San Fernando Valley. And that was proof for us, and how, she would teach dominoes to the other people. And it was so funny because when she first went there, she was like 90 or 88, and she said to us, we said, "Mom, how are you enjoying it?" She says, "It's pretty good, but," and she looked at us straight in the eyes, and with a straight face she said, "But the people here are so old." and she's 88. And she started, doing things for those people and everything. And what did it do? It helped her. It helped her, that social connectedness. By the way, I have to say this church family, because, you became her church family. This church family was also a great contributor, I believe, for her living to the advanced age that she did, because she just loved the people. And she wasn't, I'm going to just be real frank here, she wasn't used to the multicultural dimension. Coming from England, and she said, I really like it. Everybody from different races and different cultures and different backgrounds. She was revived by that. Isn't that beautiful? By the way, that's something I think we can learn for our whole society and this whole world is when we have diversity, we have strength. Diversity is strength. And we just sometimes are not connected to people, so we're afraid of them, or we don't sense who they really are, and we think, well, they look different or sound different or whatever the difference may be, and we don't realize that that's the very inner knitting and connectedness that we need to be even stronger. Okay. Does your spouse know you love them? This is a fascinating one for married couples. Many studies have shown that married people live longer. And it says, one of the interesting studies, the question was asked of men, does your wife show you her love? And those who answered yes to this question showed a reduced risk of angina pectoris, even in the presence of high-risk factors. While other psychosocial factors such as anxiety and family problems consistently affect the incidence of angina, spousal support in the form of a perceived love seems to be a heavyweight because the perception of being loved can significantly diminish the risk of angina, even with the presence of other serious risk factors. So ladies, tell us you love us. And we don't want to see you crossing your fingers behind your back either. No, what is it saying again? What is it saying? We all need to feel needed and feel that we belong and that we're special. And men, same for us, right? Tell the wives that we love them. Oh, there's many other studies. We just can't get to that. In older adults or mature people, they've done studies in Dutch. I'm not going to go into this, but it's really fascinating. And then the healing touch, how powerful that is. And let me just say this to move quickly through it. When we acknowledge our children, it is important, it is crucial that we hug them, we kiss them, we give them a gentle squeeze on the arm, that we shake someone's hand, that we, I know Celeste, I thought about you. One of the things that Celeste did, I think before you started to minister here at the church as the secretary, administrative secretary, she went to hospitals and would hold the babies. Tell us what you did.
Baby cuddling at the NICU.
At the NICU.
Yeah, these are babies that can't go home. They have all kinds of different reasons. A lot of them are premature.
Yeah.
And you just go over there and you help take care of the babies. You feed them, you change them, you just hold and rock them.
I've seen that on TV, where they did that.
Okay.
Great.
Women were going in.
They've known about that for over 100 years.
They know it's powerful.
Queen of the Valley. Queen of the Valley has it. That's right.
They did a study at a library. And the people thought the study was about the library, but the study was really about touch. And what would happen is that the librarian was told that when the people came and either returned the books or were going to get the books, that what they wanted the librarian to do was to, as they made the exchange, that she was to just lightly touch the people. And the ones that she lightly touched had greater satisfaction with regards to their service at the library and everything than just the light touch. You see what I'm saying? So the power of touch, whether it's in the babies in the NICU or whatever it might be, it is so important. let's see. I want to go. I want to finish this up. Yeah, the animal, the value of animal companionship, and I know many of you have animals, and you can tell story after story and story, but all types of health benefits from that, and it's wonderful. Here, 1 year after being hospitalized with chest pain, heart attack, 6% of pet owners died compared to 20% of patients who didn't own pets. Yeah, it says I'm going to get a dog. That's right. And this finding was independent of disability, exercise, and other known pastors. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So 4 ways to improve interpersonal relationships. Reach out to others. Push through your shyness and initiate the first contact. Make a goal to warmly greet a new person each day. At the office, at the gym, walking in the neighborhood, just a smile. I'll tell you, I've never had experience where you smile at someone and they, what are you doing? You know, the reflection is just, the reaction is just an immediate smile back. Even if it's just a little crack, you can see you got to them, you see. So ways to improve interpersonal relationships, reach out, mingle. I love this. Pastor, I think you showed this picture one time, didn't you? This is Kyrie and Brielle. They're born 12 weeks early, so they're preemies. Kyrie is the one who is on the right, and she was doing well. She slept most of the time and was gaining weight. But Brielle, the one on the left, was faring poorly. I know I want to get done quickly here, and so I'm stumbling. She was gaining weight slowly. She had breathing and heart rate troubles, resulted in low oxygen levels in her blood. And during an episode when Brielle was at her worst, one of the nurses decided to try something she had never done before, but she had heard about in a seminar. It was a simple procedure. With the parents' approval, she took Brielle out of her incubator and placed her in the incubator with Kyrie, whom she hadn't seen since birth. And immediately, Brielle calmed down and her oxygen levels improved, and she began sleeping better and gaining weight like her sister. Isn't that amazing? Kyrie would put her arm around her sister while they slept, and Brielle fully recovered. The power of social connectedness, of God guiding us and helping us. We need that touch of love. So this is my point. In the appropriate context, a touch can maybe save a life. In the appropriate context, a touch may save a life. At the least, it may be a touch of comfort at the appropriate time is needed. An encouragement, a sense that someone's on my side, a sense that all is well, or at least if it's not completely what I'd like it to be, somebody cares. And that can be life-giving. One of the things to improve interpersonal relationships is to mingle, being part of a group, a team, be involved in life, be more than just a participant, be a participant and less of a spectator. I think of the life of Jesus Christ, and in fact, Pastor Begini, this was the week we had the San Gabriel Academy Canal, and down on the bulletin as they were singing everything. And, Jesus needed this at a very crucial time in his life. He needed to know that there were people there for him, that there was this social connectedness. It was when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. And he asked the disciples, "Would you pray for me?" pray with me? Heart that he comes to his disciples and they're sleeping in his greatest time of need. And so we remember even our Savior knew the power of social connectedness and the importance of being there. Now, one of the things that you'll find that will happen when you are connected with other people, and I'm going to close on this, is that you will not only be a blessing for them, but you will also be a blessing to yourself. They have what they call a volunteer's or a helper's high, and they've done studies on this, that when you help someone, as time goes along and you reflect back on that, there's something that happens in your brain that actually brings that up, and it's almost like it's giving you the endorphins again. It's like a high. You remember how you were to be there for someone, them and care for them and help them out. And so my prayer is that in our desire to be faithful followers of the Lord, that we'll be there for one another, for our families, for our communities, and as we are helping others, we'll find out that we're really being blessed. And now we're going to go to my better half. And she is going to, maybe after Sam says something, she is going to demonstrate a meal that you could have and maybe share with someone. And not only your family, but maybe a friend, and have some friends over. And thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who helped me with this program here today. I appreciate it.